Alrighty. So it's October, what is it today? October 15th? 24th. Geez, I've lost track of time. So October 24th, Zoom session with Grant and Beatty. We're chatting about different drills for foundations. So first and foremost, we have our stance, which you can't see my feet, so I'll tilt the thing down so you can see my feet a little bit better, or at least my legs. Left foot forward is what we're going to start with. There we go. So left foot forward. We're going to have a shoulder's width between the legs. We're going to have 1.5 shoulders width long. Front foot, in this case, the left foot is going to be pointing towards our imaginary target, roughly the belly button of our imaginary target. So not straight forward, just a little bit to the right for somebody about 6 foot in front of you. And then the back foot is going to be at about a 45-degree angle. We're going to have both knees bent a bit with the knee not quite over the toe. So we're going to have about 60% of the weight over the front foot, 40 on the back, and our head straight over our shoulders, over our hips. And a dynamic way of going to our stance is to stand up. And first of all, we're going to push out with the front foot and then change our back foot. So we'll be here and we'll pick a target. So I'm going to pick the coat rack over there, and I'm going to push out and land with my front foot pointing at that target. And then back up, and I'll pick another target like the door and push out and have my whole structure focused in that direction, and then back up. So that's one dynamic drill. Another dynamic drill is to go back with the right foot. So again, I'm going to pick a target like the coat rack. I'm going to change my foot first. So my front foot comes out as my back foot goes back, landing in my stance, and then back up. And then I'll pick the door. So my foot comes out as my back foot comes back, and then up. Now you could alternate that a little bit, but that's basically how I do those two dynamic steps. And of course, you can do it on either side. So I could have my right foot coming out first here, or my back foot could go, left foot can go back. So that's talking briefly about stance and a dynamic stance drill. Now let's talk about footwork. So I guess I'll keep the focus low so you can see the feet. So looking at steps, we have volta stabile, where we go up on the balls of the feet and we rotate back approximately 135 degrees. This changes your sidedness. Sorry, keeps your sidedness. It changes your weight distribution from 60% forward to 60% back. It also changes your hip orientation, which generates power going back and then power going forward for strikes, covers, lock, skis, and throws, and disarms and counter disarms. So that's our volta stabile, or stable turn. Then we have our mezzo volta, which is half turn, where we're going to, in this case, step forward with our front foot and land on the ball of our feet, and then turn our back foot out. So we're basically just stepping forward, or in this case, I'm stepping back. So here I'm increasing mezzo volta, coming towards my target, landing in my stance, and then going back, I'm going to put my weight transfer on the back foot, reach back, and then turn the feet. So I'm avoiding telegraphing. So it's mezzo volta, or half turn, which changes the side that you're fighting on, and also has the hip rotation, which generates force, right? Next, we have tutta volta, which is harder to show in this limited space, but we can circle one foot around the other behind us, either for the back foot going around the front foot, or the front foot going around the back foot. Now, in this limited space, it's hard to show. So I'm going to stand up a little bit, and I'm going to go here. So I'm turning all the way around, and then another one, and I'm turning all the way around. So 180 degrees, right, for a full tutta volta. But typically we do a mini tutta volta, which is also informally called a back step in the Bolognese Dall'Agocchi tradition. It's a tiny little change, which is slicing the pie, right, from facing here to facing here, right? Or if I have my right foot forward and I'm facing this direction, and I do a little mini tutta volta, now I'm facing that direction over there, like a 30-degree angle offline. This is most often used after an increasing step, which is also a more traversing step. So increscimento, or increasing step, is either the front for their back foot going towards a partner. So we have a weight transfer, but we're staying on the same side. So that's front foot increcimento, back foot decrecimento. So the front foot increases the distance between the 2 feet, and the back foot decreases the distance between 2 feet. These are both called, confusingly, an increcimento because we're going towards our opponent. Now, a decreasing step, decrecimento, is either the front foot coming back to the back foot or the back foot reaching back. These are typically used together. So you can do an increasing step and then a mezzo volta, for example, or an increasing step and then a mezzo volta, as another example. But typically you'll often see a shuffle step where you have an increase and then a decreasing. Sorry, an increasing front foot and then an increasing back foot, or a decreasing back foot and then a decreasing front foot to catch up. So used together, they're called informally a shuffle step, which keep yourself fighting on the same side, just changing the distance between yourself and your opponent. This takes us to a traverse, which is not a step itself, but a type of step. And a traverse is going off the line. So the line, think of it as the A line going from my belly button to my opponent's belly button. This is where all of my structure should be aligned. If someone's in front of me here and I'm facing here, I am inherently not fighting them, or my structure is not aligned. I'm either not fighting them or fighting them very poorly. So first thing I will need to do is step in order to get back into that, to get into this aligned structure. So Fiore all the time through the manuscript tells us it's best to traverse. So an initial action, if I'm doing a mezzo volta passing step, instead of coming straight in, to come off the line, traverse, right? And then often we will correct with the mini tutto volta. We also see this with defenses from Largo, which brings into the idea of increasing steps or decreasing steps, a single step being able to be done at time of the hand, as opposed to a mezzo volta, which is time of the hand, body, and foot, and then feet. But that gets into true time. So that's a very rushed synopsis of what we talked about in the first 40 minutes before we started recording, going through those drills and those concepts. Okay? I'm going to bring it up a little bit anyway. Any questions or comments before we continue, Grant?
Good.
Good. So I now realize I should keep this low because we're getting into footwork drills. So before we add posters, then let's do some stepping drills. First of all, let's do a triangle step. This comes from the Bolognese Galagocchi, but it fits very well into Fiore. We're going to increase with the left foot, mini tutto volta with the right foot, and then increase with the left foot. And again, reset. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That drill can be done on either side. Another drill that we can do is putting 2 triangle steps together to get what we call a square step. So we can go pop step or increasing step, mini tutto volta increasing. Then we can traverse pass with the right foot, mini tutto volta increase. And as long as you've got space across a room, you can just keep doing this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So that's the triangle drill, which can be done on either side, the square drill. So that's 2 drills. Now let's look at going back. So I'm going to actually come up to the camera. What if I've done a square drill and I come up close and now I want to go back? Well, I can take my left foot and I can go back, and then the right foot back, and then I can go across the line and then back, and then back. So let's put this in the context of stepping back after the square drill. Some people include the stepping back as part of the square drill. That's semantics. So first of all, we're going to start with increasing foot, and then mini tutto volta, and then increase, and then pass traverse, mini tutto volta, increase. Then we're going to pass traverse, and then mezzo volta back with the right foot, mezzo volta back with the left foot, pass traverse back, mezzo volta, mini tutto volta, and then pass back. So putting it all together, I'm going to keep the step small because of a small space. 1, sorry, I'm going to pass first. 1, 2, 3, so that's a triangle. 1, 2, 3, that's the second triangle. Going across with the right foot, passing back, going across with the left foot, passing back, and passing back. Right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm limited in the space that I'm in. If you've got a larger space, open up the cone, the angle. So you're going to increase further off the line. You're going to mini 2 volta further than I can here. And then coming back, as you come back off the line, you're going to reach across longer. And when you come across, you're going to exit out at that 30 to 40 degree angle, then come across the line and then exit out at that degree. So you have a wider angle in which you can traverse through, right? So that's all of that is without posta. I just keep everything at iron gate to start. Any questions before we move on to posta?
Think I'm good.
Before we go into posta, let's do a traditional Fiore stepping drill that we see in the scholar test. So I'm going to put this back down again. Lots and lots of views of feet. So the traditional drill that you will see in the Fiore scholar test will be volta stabile back, right foot pass, left foot mini 2 volta, right foot increase, left foot traverse pass, right foot mini 2 volta, and left foot increase, and then 2 volta, so you're facing the other way. And then do it again. But I'm going to reset so that you don't have to picture a view of my ass. So, volta stabile back, pass, mini 2 volta, increase, pass, mini 2 volta, increase, 2 volta. Now, except for the 2 volta at the end and the volta speed at the beginning, this is very similar to the 2 triangle drills put together into a square drill, right? We see a lot of similarity between the Fiore drill and the Dall'Agocchi drills, right? One of the reasons why we like that drill for the scholar test is because it shows all of the different steps, especially when you add traverses in there, and it can be paired easily with poster transitions to show intent, which we'll do in a minute, time permitting. The other thing is that by having 2 passing steps, so volta stabile pass, and then a second one, right? And then mini 2 volta. As you do this drill, you go in a racetrack pattern. You stay in the same space. Whereas if you did this with 1 passing step, so volta stabile, mezza volta, mini 2 volta here, and then 2 volta, every time you did it, you would increment 1 over, like an old style typewriter, right? And the scholar test is done within a ring of scholars. And if every third step or whatever, you have to reset back to the beginning, it's awkward. And it can really set people off their game. And if you just got a small space like this, you can just keep doing the pattern we just did and never have to reset. You can just wear a ring in the carpet or in the floor, or a bus stop, or a washroom at work or whatever. So we've gone through stance, we've gone through steps, we've gone through stepping drills, right? Triangle, square, and then square with the stepping back, and then the Fiore. Any questions before we go to posta?
Good, thank you.
Okay, how much time do we have left? I think we started this one around 8, right? Or was it 10-2?
Yeah, it must have been more like 10-2 because it's 8:06 now.
Okay, never mind. We'll be good. I just always want to check the time. So let's go through posta, and then we'll briefly after posta we'll do strikes, Fruiten style. Then we'll go through stepping drill with posta transition, and then we'll talk about intent, and that will probably take us to the end of this practice. You know your dagger postas, you know your dagger strikes, you know your sword postas, right? So those are things you could add onto the end of your Monday practice in addition to this material. Regardless, not to imply that you don't know your wrestling post and your strikes, I'm just saying. So,
Yeah.
posta, we have tutto porta di ferro, iron gate. This is your quintessential hands at belt, tucked into the belt, hands in the pocket, whatever. walking along the street, carrying a couple of bags, or chatting with some friends and your hands are moving, right? Full iron gate, tutto porta da ferro. Then we have, from here, frontale, catch a basketball. These are square in that our right or our left foot could come forward. They're symmetrical, and it doesn't matter in general which leg is forward. Now, if we want to get into semantics, it does matter in that the back foot hand will have less forward movement, right? We can go to here as kind of a sided frontale, but this is frontale. But anyway, for our purposes, symmetrical, right? And don't care which side we're on. We can do iron gate and frontale. These can be used to defend from and to, and strike from and strike to. So we can be at iron gate and we can defend. We can be at iron gate and we can strike, or we can strike, or we can grab, and then we can. A lot of the plays come down to iron gate for the finishing move, or for a knee, right? Grab up from the back of the head down to iron gate, put a key on down to iron gate, lock down to iron gate, right? All that good stuff. So those two go together. And later on in the dagger section, we'll see how Emma McLaughlin takes the interpretation of high versus low, low versus high in terms of waiting for different strikes. But that's ahead of what we're going to do with today. Next, we have longa and boar's tooth. So first we'll do boar's tooth, which is a bent arm. And in the demonstration of the applications, you see the right hand high. In the demonstrations of the posta, we see the right hand low. So demonstrating the posta here matches the manuscript. Doing the applications here matches the manuscript. So we're going to do both. Bent arm, boar's tooth. Right? Show it here, but know that in the applications, you're going to have the hand up. So boar's tooth is off of the front foot. So the front foot, front arm is boar's tooth. My left foot is forward. This is not boar's tooth. This is something that is not a posta. And the instructor will say, what are you doing? That's not a posta. Then we have, and that's square again, right? The shoulders are square. Everything is forward facing. Then we have the only bladed posta in wrestling is longa. So we step out and our shoulders go in line. Our hips are turned back and we're reaching out there to cover or to strike. So you see this on a jab. You see this on a cover against a dagger, right? You see this on the unusual cover again, right? Against dagger. So longa and boar's tooth oppose each other because we oppose a straight arm with a bent arm, and we oppose a bent arm with a straight arm. For example, third play of wrestling, we'll go to the face over top of a bent arm. So those are our posts. Tutto porta da ferro, iron gate, frontale, which is in the catch a basketball, right? 135 degrees. Here you're too extended. Here you're hugging a teddy bear. You have to be right in your power zone, 135 degrees, elbows in, hands close enough so that a basketball coming towards your face, this is too wide, basketball would hit you in the face. Here, you can catch the basketball, right? Here it's too low, you're gonna hit the basketball or dodgeball in the face. Toronto likes to go high. We kind of tease them that they do the T-Rex. When they do this, in Guelph we do this, right? And then we have longa, bladed, and then boar's tooth, non-bladed, square, right? A brief comment about covers. We can strike and cover to and from all of these postas. So we can do an iron gate, we can do an inside boar's tooth cover. We can do an outside boar's tooth cover. We can do a strike up into boar's tooth with an uppercut. We can do a back fist out into boar's tooth as some examples, right? These can be closed or open, but traditionally you'll see boar's tooth will usually be closed fist, right? Longa. We can jab with a vertical fist, with a horizontal fist. You see the knife edge in the dagger defenses. We can come to the other side for the unusual cover, as it's called, or the not common cover, and typically a lot of times you'll see the open hand for the longa, but again, you can use a fist, right? The longa. Frontale, we can come out with the open hand to catch or to grab. We can come in with two hands for the punch, which is less common, but you'll see that in the more advanced wrestling plays. If they grab you low, you go high. There's other less interesting things to us, like the eye gouge or the thumb into the side of the ear or the temple there. That's a little bit more brutal, so we have less chance to train that on each other, but there it is. And then coming down to Iron Gate, typically that's a grab or a lock and a break or a key and a double up. But finishing by doubling the hands together and then going to Iron Gate is very common, especially with the Volta Stabile. Any questions on those before I move on?
With the longa, you prefer bladed with the palm down. So yeah.
That is stereotypical, and you'll see
Yes.
it here in the posta section, and then here in the